I genuinely thought I had seen beautiful places until I saw Ladakh. But yes, do not mistake Ladakh for just another hill station. It has a completely different experience. And our first 72 hours here gave us a reality check. The views were incredible, but the altitude was unforgiving. And before those first 72 hours were even over, we were already dealing with acute mountain sickness. After an early morning flight from Bangalore and a quick stop in Delhi, we were finally on our way to Leh. And as our flight began descending, we couldn't stop looking out of the window. Endless barren mountains stretched in every direction. It was unlike anything we had ever seen before. But the moment we stepped out of the aircraft, the mountains gave us our first reality check. After deboarding the plane, all we did was collect our luggage and walk out of the airport main building. Nothing challenging, yet we felt completely exhausted. And it was not just the walking. Even 4 or 5 sentences into a conversation, we could feel ourselves breathing faster. I mean, I had never been anywhere before where simply talking could leave you out of breath. And our troubles did not end there. What happened next worried us even more. Soon after landing, one of us developed a sudden headache. Then came the nausea, and before we knew it, there was vomiting too. That is when we realized this was not just tiredness. It was acute mountain sickness. And the reason was pretty simple. We were over 10,000 feet above sea level, where the air is thinner and naturally carries less oxygen. And our bodies were definitely not used to it. And that is why, even though it was only 11 in the morning and we had the entire day ahead of us, we did not go sightseeing. Instead, we headed straight to our room and rested, because in Ladakh, your body needs time to catch up. So for the rest of the day, our mission was simple: rest, hydrate, and let our bodies adjust to the altitude. Now there was one more small challenge for us here. Our SIM cards had stopped working after landing. That is because prepaid SIM cards from outside Ladakh do not work here due to security reasons. So by the evening, we stepped out for our first task in Leh, getting local SIM cards. We headed to an Airtel store in Leh market, and thankfully the whole process was surprisingly quick. And since we were already there, we spent some time wandering around the market. It was our first real glimpse of Leh. The streets, the cafes, the local shops, and the relaxed mountain town vibes. After picking up a few souvenirs and finally getting our network back, we headed back to the hotel. And just like that, our first day in Leh came to an end. Day 2 welcomed us with light drizzles, and we were not in any hurry as well. Our bodies were still adjusting to the altitude, so we spent the first half of the day resting, but by afternoon, it was finally time to step out and start exploring Leh. Today, our first stop was the Hall of Fame. And honestly, this place completely changed the way I looked at Ladakh. Until then, I had only been thinking about the mountains, the lakes, the roads, and the beautiful landscapes. But the Hall of Fame showed me a very different side of Ladakh. A side built on courage, sacrifice, and resilience. It made me realize that behind these beautiful mountains, there are stories. Stories of soldiers who have served here, stories of sacrifice, and stories of protecting this land in some of the toughest conditions on earth. And sitting comfortably at home, I don't think I had ever truly understood the scale of those sacrifices before. If there is one place you should not miss in Leh, it is definitely the Hall of Fame. Because this place doesn't just tell you about Ladakh, it helps you understand this place. By the time we stepped out, evening had started settling over Leh, but we were not ready to call it a day yet. So instead of rushing back to the hotel, we spent some time wandering through Leh market. watching people go about their evening, exploring the little shops, and soaking in the calm mountain town vibes before eventually heading back to the hotel. Day 3 did not start well for me. I woke up with a headache, and from there, things only got worse. There was nausea, vomiting, and a constant feeling of indigestion that just would not go away. By then, I knew exactly what was going on. It was acute mountain sickness, and I was not in a condition to enjoy much that day. While everyone else headed out to explore Leh, I stayed back at the hotel, just hoping to feel normal again. They spent the day visiting places like Sangam Viewpoint, Gurudwara Pathar Sahib, Magnetic Hill, Santi Stupa, and Leh Palace. Later that evening, they came back with stories, photos, and memories from the day. And there I was, still lying in bed, with a headache that simply refused to go away. That was probably the hardest part, because while everyone else was out there experiencing Ladakh, I was still stuck in my room, fighting acute mountain sickness. The next morning, we would leave Leh and head towards Nubra Valley via Khardung. But there was one problem. My body was already struggling with the altitude, and the road ahead would take us even higher. What happened on that journey, I will share in the next video. If you enjoyed this journey, do not forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching.